Hello viewers, welcome to UNC virtual platform class. On today's sessions, I am going to start a new session topic about the EBP concept, that means e-business practices concept. Here is an outlines of the EBP topics which I will discuss in today's class. First one is the introduction term, then after I will discuss structure of business, and lastly I will discuss the size of business. But before going to discuss about the business, first to know that what is e-business practices. That means as you know, the e-business practices meanings that's your online business practices. That means e terms to be refers online. Online means on connection of internet, how the businessmen to be performing their goods and services exchange on replacement of transaction. That means how all over the business to be performed over the internet connection in worldwide which covers geographical areas in few nanoseconds. As you know, in traditional days there is no concept of internet. So in traditional days all over the business to be performed in offline modes. That means maybe by using other some communication medium, the user to be sharing all over the products from one place to another place. But when the computer system consists to be initiated, in this case the computer system provides by using the technology of internet, the businessman also to be performing the business or the enterprisation workout through the connection of internet from one location to another location in very few nanoseconds. Okay, and then another concept to be arises, what is the term of business. In general way, if we discuss, the business means an exchange of goods and services about the transaction. That means the business terms to be initiated for exchange all over the goods and services on replacement of transaction through which the revenue to be incurred. So how all over the business functionality to be performed to the connection of internet by using some protocols, all over these things to be discussed in case of e-business practices. So first we have to know that what is business. So this is the introduction term of business. Here the business is the activity of making one's living or making money by producing or buying and selling products. That means here the products may be goods or any services that we provide us. That means as you simply way if we explains, the business is any activity or enterprise entered into for profiting, for revenue. Okay, and in other words, if we express the business terms here, the business is defined as an organization or enterprising entities engaged in commercial, industrial or professional activities. That means here the business can be for profit entities or non-profit organizations. That means the non-profit organization that operate to fulfill a charitable missions or further a social cause. Okay, but if we have to explain the business terms in technical way, here the term business also refers to the organized effort and activities of individual to produce and sells goods and services for profiting, and this business range in scale from a solo proprietorship to an international corporation or several lines of theory are engaged with the understanding business administration. That means if we have to mathematically explain the term of business, the business terms to be initiated on combination of e-commerce, then after that on combination of commerce, marketing and also as well as all over the operational functionality above the organizations. That means in case of business we cannot be performing only the buying and selling the product on replacement of transactions. Here also that to be provide some advertising, some marketing about the product, how the consumers to be consuming this given product in an efficient ways, and also provides how that to be benefits for using this given product. All over the advertising elements also to be possible in case of business. And also sometimes the business functionality to be provided different types of services, how internally all over the operational or raw ingredients to be interconnected with each other for producing the given product elements. so that always the business terms to be initiated for revenue incurred on replacement of like your e-commerce, then marketing, then after the given operational elements of the organizations. Okay. Then also here there are various forms of a business such as limited liability companies, a solo proprietorship, a corporation and a partnership. And also the business can range from small operation operating in one industry to large operation operating in many industries around the world. That means maybe the business to be initiated in individual ways, or maybe that to be created by using the multiple number of industries which is to be around the world. That means in simply way, the generally a business begins with a business concept, the idea and a name. Depending on the nature of business, extensive market research may be necessary to determine whether turning the idea into a business is feasible or not. That means that to be financially or economically to be obey or not for creating the business in this given area. And also it check if the business can deliver value to the consumer as the consumer to be needs. Here the business name can also to be done. Here the business name can be one of the most valuable assets of a firm. So before creating any business, first to be carefully consideration should thus be given when choosing the given business name. Okay. Now goes to the next concepts, that's your business structures. Before going to establish the business structures, first to know that how in which area we have to create the business. That means first we have to collecting all of the information about the area where the business to be needed evolved, and after that the supplier or the businessmen to be check the given area to be feasible or not for creating the organization in this place. That means that to be economically and also technically and also physically that to be supports for creating the organization or not. That means the consumer to be very easily consuming this product or not, the user to be needs or not in this area this given organization product. Okay. Then after collecting all of the informations, if that to be feasible, then the businessman to be created one plan driven designs through which the business to be evolved. Okay. Then after we have to creating the structure of the business. That means how many users or how many businessmen to be request for creating a business. So that all of the things to be discussed in case of business structures. In general way, the business structures to be created in hierarchical ways. That means on tree format. Maybe the business to be created by consisting individual natural portions, or maybe the business to be created by consisting multiple number of portions like your corporations where it requires more number of peoples. Okay. So now to check how the business structures to be normally created. Okay. The business structures to be organized themselves around some sort of hierarchy or bureaucracy where the position in a company have established roles and responsibility. Here the most common structures include sole proprietorship. That means here the sole proprietorship, as its name suggests, is a business which is to be owned and operated by a single natural persons. That means in this case there is no legal separation between the business and the owners, and here the tax and legal liabilities of the business are those that of the owners. Okay. That means in case of sole proprietorship, here the businessmen to be individuals. That means the individual persons which is to be created one organization who is the owners and also the businessman. Okay. Now goes to our next business structures, that's your partnership. The partnership is a business relationship between two or more peoples who join to conduct business, and here each partner contributes resources and money to the business and shares in the profit and losses of the business, and here the share profits and losses are recorded on each partner's tax returns. That's your partnerships. That means here compulsory the organization to be created more than one portions. Okay. Then goes to our next types of business structures, that's your corporations. Here a corporation is a business in which a group of people acts together as a single entity, and most commonly here owners of a corporation are a shareholders and who exchange consideration for the corporation common stocks. And in this case, incorporating a business releases owners of the financial liability of business obligations. However, a corporation has unfavorable taxation rules for the owners of the business. So, that means in case of corporations, it requires a group of peoples for accessing a common goals. Okay, but there is some problems. What are they? Here, in case of corporations, there is much more liability to be loss. So that in this case, it provides a relatively new, first available in Oming in 1977 and other states in the 1990 business structures that show limited liability company. Here this company is available for combines the pass-through taxation benefits of a partnership with the limited liability benefits of the corporations. Okay, that means here in case of business, when the business to be evolved by consisting different types of structures. That means the business to be created by using a individual person, or maybe that to be created by using group of number persons. So by categorizing all of the elements into 4 ways. The first one is the solo proprietors. That means solo proprietors types of business, when that to be evolved, here the owner is one type of individual natural persons. That means who is the owners, who is to be investing the money, who is the owners, who is also the organization business man. Okay, that means in this case there is no liability to be tax to be returned to the given portions. Now goes to our next business structures, that's your partnership. In case of partnership, it to be requires more than one persons who is sharing all over the resources for creating the given organizations. After that, when the organizations to be incurred any profit in the annum periods, here all over the profit and any loss amounts that to be sharing from 2 resources or more than one resources who is to be belonging from the organization involvement. Then after it to be provides another types of business structures, that's your corporations. In case of corporations, always it to be requires group of peoples or group of persons who is to be fulfilling a common goal or a common goal organizations stuck from one state to another state. Okay, but there is some problems. In case of corporations, here much more of liability to be requires, and also the tax returns to be much more. So that another one types of innovative business structures to be created, that's your limited liability companies. Here the limited liability companies to be provides the solo proprietors to be here the limited liability companies to be provides for creating all over the group of persons, for creating any organizations through group of persons, for achieving any common goal through limited liabilities. That means through low limited tax returns. So now goes to our next concept, that's your business sizes. That means the business sizes range from small owner operated companies such as family restaurants to multinational conglomerates such as General Electric, or any larger business may issue corporate stock to finance operations. In this case, the company is publicly traded and has reporting and operating restrictions. And here alternatively, smaller business may operate more independently of regulators. That means the term size of business refers to the scale of organization and operation of a business enterprise. It is an essential here to have clear understanding of the term size of the plants and size of farms and also the size of the industries. That means a plant means an establishment of the manufacturing of goods. It represents a production unit where the due provision of all the activities facilitating the production process is met. But the firm means as an organization that owns, manages and controls a plant or number of plants and also arranges for the marketing of products, where provision of finance and other facilities to run the organization. And lastly, the term industry implies the aggregate of all firms which manufacture similar types of products. In general way, in small and medium sized enterprises employs fewer than 250 people. Small medium sized enterprises, again if we have to subdivide it into micro enterprises, here fewer than 10 employees, that is to be known as small enterprises, and the very small enterprises that to be 10 to 49 employees, and the medium sized enterprises that to be 52 to 49 employees. And if the organization to be created by large number of employees, here the employee size is 250 or more than 250 people. So that in single way, if we explain the term of business size, that is the small size, the mid market size and the large enterprise size. Okay. The size of the business to be created in two ways. Maybe the business size is very small, or maybe the business size is very large or very vast. When the business size is small and also that to be privately in nature, that cannot be globally to be shared in worldwide, in this case we have to call as this types of business the sheer smaller business, which is to be independent, like your family restaurant. That means independently, there is no protocols to be provided by the public side. But other some companies or other some business or organizations to be present, who is to be globally sharing all over the products from one place to another place in very efficient ways. But in this case, there is some restriction, there is some rules or regulations from public sides, so that types of larger organizations was not to be independent. Okay. Okay. That means on today's lectures we have to learn about the concept of business. Why we have to learn the concept of business? Because as the business terms to be initiated and concept of business practices of the topic elements of our session elements, that means how electronically, how online all over the business to be incurred through the replacement of money for sharing goods or services from supplier to consumers in an efficient ways. Okay, as we know, nowadays all over the works to be possible very easily through the help of machinery product. Similarly, the business also to be performed very efficient ways through the use of machinery product like your computer systems. And in case of, as you know, in case of business, all over the suppliers to be supplying all over the products and services to the consumer sides. In traditional ways, all over the things to be possible through the help of any types of transportation mediums like your bus, cycles, etc. or maybe person to persons. But nowadays, as it uses different types of machinery products, so on connection of internet, easily the supplier to be sharing all over the products or services to the given consumer sites in very few nanoseconds. So that here the time consuming and also the monetary transactions and also the user workload is very low. That means here it requires very less time for performing multiple tax manipulations. Okay. So for today's class we have to learn about the business and also about the structure of business, how all over the business to be evolved, all over things. On next class we have to learn about the e-business. That means how the business to be performed on connection of internet. Okay. So for today's class, that's all. Thanking the